Okay, so the dough is ready to be shaped and put into the baton. So let's see what we need to have. We need this. We've got a little bit of water. We need the flour. This is the gluten-free flour that we use to make it easier to shape, and also to stop it sticking to surfaces because it's gluten-free, so it doesn't connect and bind with the gluten in the dough that we're trying to shape. We need to get the batons out. Need our brush. So I'm going to make two sizes here, so I have to do like a bigger one and a slightly smaller one. You can see these have still got like bits of flour, hard bits of flour in from the last bake, so I'm just going to give that a little brush out. Look at the dough is shaped quite nicely, so let's make some space. Just put some flour down. I'm going to put some flour on my hands as well, so that make it easier for me to manage and handle this dough. The first thing we need to do is just get it out. It should be quite, manageable, so you can get it out like as a big blob like that. And this is called the bench rest, which is basically just letting it sit for a little while, so that it can spread itself out. What I can do though is cut it up. So as I mentioned, I've got two batons, one of them slightly bigger than the other. So I'm just going to go slightly off center. So we've got a big one, a big loaf, and a slightly smaller one. So you cut right down, straight down, and then push the dough aside. A bit more flour. And what we can do is just let it, a bit of flour on your hands as well. Don't worry about using a lot of flour, it's fine. So all I want to do is just allow this to kind of spread out. And same for this. Okay, so here's the big one, which will be for this one here. See, there's lovely figs in there. So you can see it started to flatten out a bit, and you should be able to, with the flour as well, make it a bit easier to handle. You can feel all the figs and all the nuts inside the dough there, and it's all just being held together quite nicely. So what we want to do is just start to shape it. So I'm going to just start folding this over like that. Do it as best you can. I mean, I wouldn't worry too much about it. People get a bit obsessed with all this sort of stuff, but basically all you're trying to do is create a better tension on one side of the dough, and you flip it over. So what I'm going to do is just kind of flip it like that, and then you kind of shape it like this, So imagine you're kind of cupping and then you're sort of tucking it under and turning it at the same time. So that's forcing this kind of this dome shape as you rotate it. Like so. You keep doing that until you can feel that it's nice and tight. And then when you're ready, and you should do this, try and do this quite quickly, because otherwise it will just sort of start falling apart. And in fact, I've just realised that I need to put some flour in this baton before I can finish this. So I'm just going to put a bit more in here. And what I'm going to do is just brush it around like so. This will help with the non-stick surface for the dough. Otherwise it will stick inside and you'll have trouble getting it out. Sometimes you can ruin the loaf. So anyway, back to this. Give this a few more turns. And then just gonna flip it over in. There you go. Remember, that's going to be the underside. So this stuff doesn't matter. The other side will be the top. So that's done. So I'm going to cover that up and I'll put that one in the fridge. So now we move on to this one. Give this a bit of a flour. This one's caked pretty well, which is fine. At some point it's probably a good idea. You should never wash these, but it's probably a good idea to sort of scrape it out at some point, because they can get a bit too caked. It's not going to hurt though. You're not going to get like if you wash it they'll go mouldy. But if you just leave them, brush them out, they're fine. Right, so this one again, we're trying to stitch this dough. Oh, a bit sticky there. Just kind of fold it over. Got some nice figgy bits there. And then the same again with the twisting and rotating. And then flip over. It's got some nice bits on the bottom there. And we're just going to leave that as well, and then leave that overnight. One of them will probably stay out and I'll have to get up very early and bake that one, and the other one can stay in the fridge and be baked a little bit later in the day tomorrow. Okay, it's 5 AM, which is quite normal for baking sourdough. So the oven's on at 220. You have to get it really hot. So as you can see, it's risen quite a bit. It's got lots of air in it. If you touch it, it springs back. That's always a good sign as well. We need some parchment paper, and I have this plastic board thing. You'll see why in a second. So we get a bit of parchment. Place that there like that. And that goes on top because it's then a lot easier to turn over like so. And there it is. Have to use these and just cut the dough. I'm just going to give it a really simple cut through like that today. Nothing fancy. If your dough's in the fridge, this is a lot easier to do because it'll be very hard. We now put this into the top of our Dutch oven. Okay, there's the dough in the lid of the Dutch oven. And here is the other part of it. So here it is, ready to go in the oven. That's going to go in for 1 hour at 220. The bread is ready. Time to take it out of the oven. I've got my big crazy gloves. I've got burnt so many times that you have to have some really decent oven gloves. This thing is red hot right now. It's not a big riser, but it'll be nice. So this is the best bit of baking sourdough. It's this is the money shot. So let's cut into it and see what we've got. Right. The sourdough can be quite hard to cut because it's quite tough. Get quite a good crust on it. This one's still a little bit warm inside as well. You should really let it cool completely down, because when it's warm, it's actually sometimes still baking inside. So when you cut it open prematurely, you may find it's a little bit doughy inside still. So you should always let it cool completely down. This is almost there. It's not too bad. It's just a little bit warm, which is obviously really nice when you want to eat it straight from the oven type of thing. So you want to, here we go, there's one bit. So got some nice big air holes in there. I'm interested in seeing what that combination of the pecan and figs is going to taste like. Oh, it's quite tough to get through the crust.
Clarice laid an egg.
Clarice laid an egg?
Yes.
Clarice laid an egg. That's straight from the chicken oven, so to speak.
It's warm.
It's still warm, yes. Like my bread. So here we go, look. Look at that. That's got some fig and some pecan nuts in it. Still looks really gooey. You can see the nuts, even though the pecans were soft, I was a bit concerned they might, burn or go hard, but no, they're perfectly fine. It all stays together in the bread quite well, so you don't really have to worry too much about that. Try different flavours. So there you have it. Lovely bit of sourdough ready to eat. Hashtag sourdough, hashtag bread porn. So give it a go. You can't. It can be as complicated or as easy as you make it. If you stress too much about measuring and timings and all that sort of stuff, then it's not going to be fun. You've really got to just keep trying, do it repeatedly, get a feel for the dough, so you sort of start to understand it, and then just go for it. It's so good. The fig. When you put figs, really nice, fresh, soft, gooey figs in bread, it's almost like cake. It's like you're eating healthy cake. And with the pecans as well, it's amazing. This bread with the figs would be amazing with some chutney and some cheddar, some strong cheddar. That would be incredible. Other combos, pickled onions, good. Chop them up, put them in the bread. Jalapeno and cheddar is a really amazing combination. Green olives and sun-dried tomatoes. Whatever you have in the fridge that's just sitting around, just put it in. Try it. People, mix Marmite in there. When you get a jar of sun-dried tomatoes and you've got all that leftover oil, you could use that while you're doing your stretch and folds, and that will add the flavour of the sun-dried tomatoes into the bread. And then you could do like chocolate chip with orange zest over the crust. There's loads of things you can do. So much. Enjoy.